There was a young man who asked a rich man, "How can I be successful?" So the rich man said, "Oh, you want to be successful? Come, I'll show you." And he took him to his backyard by the poolside. And the rich man, he held the head of the young man and pushed it underneath the water. Now, this young man obviously was gasping for breath, was struggling to breathe. And then the rich man pulled him out and said that the day you want it as bad, you want the success as much as you wanted the breath, that's when you're going to be successful. Yeah. Now, such advices, such stories are doing rounds on the internet. This is kind of a funny story, somewhat little psycho, so to say, but the trend of uplifting your career, moving your career forward at the cost of everything is what it is. So the promotion is that you need to do it at any cost, sacrifice whatever it may be. Right now, imagine a lifestyle where your career, which is important, but that becomes the center, that becomes the main focus of your life, and everything else, which is your relations, your family, friends, your social life, your health, the fun element, your hobbies, your interests, everything else takes a backseat. How would that be? And you don't have to imagine, well, that's actually happening. It is. Now, the question here is, what is the impact? Is it that you really need to get into that grind? You really need to get into that hustle culture. Yes, that's what it is called. Is that for you? That's what we're going to dive into today. So stay on right until the end. Hi, I'm Aastha Tatia, daughter of two rock-solid pillars, mother to a lovely daughter, wife of a humor king, an engineer, MBA, corporate executive turned anchor person, now an author and a happiness coach, helping leaders build their happiness muscle and create meaningful relationships at their workplace, express their higher potential. If what you hear today makes sense, it resonates with you at some point, then go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done it already. Hustle culture. Now, this term came into being in the 90s when the last tech revolution happened. And these tech companies, they started to dominate the market, and they kind of brought in a trend where these young people started to overwork extra hours. And while that was important, maybe it uplifted the careers, but the cost was very, very high, right? So much so that people started degrading the 9 to 5 jobs and moved towards entrepreneurship and other such things just because it was kind of cool. Now, there's no harm in moving towards all these other areas, but the reason why you're doing it is extremely important. First things first. Now, let's set the record straight. If a 9 to 5 job is what excites you, gives you fulfillment, then there's no harm in just being there. Maybe you've just found your right balance. You enjoy it. And to push yourself to work 24/7 because that gets you the required validation is a very toxic way of thinking. But yes, there are people who push themselves and who go through the grind just because they feel if I'm not working as much, if I'm not pushing myself, if I'm not spending as many hours, then maybe I'm lagging behind. Then maybe that is going to impact my career, where that's not the case. Happiness has got to be the ultimate goal, and that could come through any source. Yeah, you need to listen to your voice. You need to figure out what's that inner calling, where do you derive your pleasure, and stick to that. There are people who are absolutely happy, fulfilled, contented, progressing even in a 9 to 5 job, and all the areas of their life are kind of flourishing. Right? So what's there deep inside? What's that belief that kind of pushes you into doing stuff that you don't want to do? Well, you might be in your 20s or 30s or 50s. That doesn't really matter. Today, people are surpassing their age. What was earlier considered something fit for a 20-year-old, today people are doing it at the age of maybe 50 as well. While that is there, however, there are constraints which are beyond our control, and we sometimes miss out on staying aware and attending to those. So, for example, your children growing, that's a phase. If you miss out, you've missed it out. and you think I need to spend doing my work, and you do not spend as much time with your children, watch them growing up, and then you regret later, right? Or maybe your parents, you want to have a trip with them, you want to go travel with them, and you think my 20s, 30s, need to be devoted to work. That's more important. That's my cream period. But when you reach your 40s or 50s and you want to travel, then maybe your parents are not in the right shape. So what I'm trying to say here is, just because you are so possessed by this whole belief or thought around the hustle culture that no, I'm supposed to hustle, I'm supposed to grind. If I don't do it, I'll remain behind. And in that process, you miss out on things which are irreparable losses at times. You don't want that to happen. That's not going to come back, that you won't be able to undo those things later, right? The other thing that happens is it takes a toll on your well-being, physical, mental. I can't tell you the number of leaders I know who are not spending as much time on their physical energy or their mental, emotional energy. And while they are growing, the so-called success is there. While they're growing, they're accomplishing, there are accolades to their credit. However, they're completely drained out, have no energy left, and they have no idea where they're headed. There's no sense of fulfillment. So the question you need to consistently ask yourself, fundamentally, nothing wrong with any of these. If you think this works well for me, super. You think 9 to 5 works well for me, super. The question is, what is the cost that you're paying? Yeah. Is it at the cost of your happiness? Is it at the cost of your well-being? If yes, then you need to pause. You need to reflect. And you need to understand that there's no one size fits all mantra for success. It's going to be each one having a different idea of what success looks like. And it is absolutely fine. So you getting into the hustle culture, you getting into the grind because you think that's the only way is a big no. That's the bottom line, right? Make sure you reflect on this. If you're doing this, if that's who you are being, which is running mindlessly because you think that's going to get you the validation, that's going to get you the acceptance in the society, and that is what is going to get you the much needed desired success that you want, well, that's not the case, right? You may get the materialistic successes, or in terms of whatever it is that you look at it. However, you need to be mindful of the other side, which is the cost, which is the cost that you are paying, and you don't want to miss out. You don't want to regret later, right? So this is a very, very strong reminder for all those of you who are obsessed with the hustle culture, right? If this made sense to you, go and hit the like button, but also share this with somebody you know and you think they need to listen to this, right? Make sure you pass it on to them. Also, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that right now, because there's content published here every single week, which is going to help you, express your higher potential, move ahead in your leadership journey. Yeah. Take care. I'm going to see you in the next one very soon. Bye-bye.